This is the briefing for Thursday, August 27th. For the last couple days, I've been talking about the rotational patterns and really kind of talked mostly about it in last night's briefing about the rotational pattern in multiple time frames. Now, this is a shorter term time frame that we're looking at, 60-minute time frame, and for the spiders, this is the Qs and this is the IWM representing the Russell. And last night I talked about the possibility for a breakout move in one direction or another, and I said if there is, and there typically would be one coming, we don't know whether it's going to be to the upside or to the downside. Well, today we found out that it was to the upside. But I also cautioned that if it broke out and the internals were weak, then that would suggest that it's potentially going to be a false breakout. Now, I will tell you that the internals were extremely weak today on this breakout. So I was very cautious of it, and really I did not trade it. I'm going to watch and see what happens in tomorrow's trading. But certainly volume was not very great, and breadth was basically just basically very, very weak. And you can see this is S&P breadth for the S&P 500, 200 shares positive. I'm sorry, that is 200 shares negative. So it had negative breadth in the S&P 500 on this move. I'm not touching something like that in terms of the indices. In terms of the Qs, you can see that breadth was about 200 shares, 209 shares positive. And you can see the rotational pattern just above this upper extreme at the 715 area. And then, of course, we had breadth in the Russell that was negative 45 shares. Look at this extremely low volume here. A little bit of a volume spike at the open, a little bit of volume spike at the open, but for the rest of the day, it was basically muted. So looking at where we are in the longer term charts, this is the area of rotation that we've been in for quite some time at the upper extreme of this area of rotation. Tested it a couple times, and now it looks like we're going to have a rotation back through the range. But look at volume. This is, once again, this is volume on the spiders. 52-week highs minus 52-week lows, only 12 shares positive. Negative breadth in the NYSE. This is the NYSE. Negative breadth in the NYSE of 305 shares. And negative net volume in the NYSE. And I'll get to volume in a few minutes. If we look at where the Qs are, this is the rotational pattern we're in. We got a false breakout here and then another rotation back up, testing this 707 area and then, of course, bouncing off of it. And NASDAQ showing a little more strength than the other indices. We got a little bit bump up of volume in the Qs. But if you look from yesterday's volume, how low it was, we've really just come up to the lower extreme of this volume going all the way back to, I guess this is back in April, where volume has fallen off and is just really extremely low, except for this area right through here. And we got this rotational pattern when that started to begin. Looking at the IWM, you can see the rotational pattern here. Now, the Russell did not break out of this short-term pattern, but it's still in this pattern, which is still part of this pattern here. So you can see the multiple time frames. Negative 45 shares in the Russell in terms of breadth, and you can see volume in the IWM just really, really very low. In terms of overbought and oversold, we're really just neutral, not moving away, and that's a result of the internals just really not showing any strength at all in either direction. And here's the real crux of the matter. This is total NYSE volume. You can see how low it is, below the lower extreme of going all the way back through the chart. And then you can see this is net volume. You can see the rotation it's been in, and this is the negative 253,000 shares. In terms of net volume. So there was more down volume today than up volume, even though we had a little bump up in volume. In terms of the NASDAQ, you can see volume ticked up slightly, total NASDAQ volume. And the only good thing about the indices today was that net volume in the NASDAQ was positive. And so that's basically the only thing that I can say about it, at least at this point in time. Now, I want to look at the percentage of stocks above the 20-day and 50-day moving average. This is for the S&P 500, so you can see what's happening here. The percentage of stocks above the 20-day moving average didn't even budge to the upside. The percentage of stocks above the 50-day moving average really just quite low as well. In terms of the NASDAQ, you can see NASDAQ had a little bit of a tick up. That's because it was a little bit stronger than the other indices, but still the trend is down. A little bit of a flat move in terms of the percentage of stocks above the 50-day moving average. And in the Russell, you can see it is really declining, continue to decline in today's trading in the 20-day and in the 50-day moving average of stocks trading above their 20 and 50-day moving averages. So you can see, I guess my point tonight is that we got a breakout and it may continue, and we may see rotation back through the greater degree time frame range, which would rotate back up this way, and this way, and then a breakout with a Russell for this move here. But unless or until the internals begin to strengthen, and they may tomorrow, and if they do, then that's going to be a confirmation that this breakout is real, and we're going to be looking at testing the intermediate term upper extremes. And that could be a significant event as well. I'm a little bit skeptical of this move, as you can tell, but we'll see what happens in tomorrow's trading. I'll pick this back up again tomorrow. Have a great night.